Thank you, Dean Hinkson. Wow, there's a lot of you guys. Good morning, seniors. You finally get to hear that in person rather than through email. Congratulations on making it to this day. I know this has not been an easy journey for many, but we made it. One night, when I was looking for inspiration for this speech, I went up to the roof of Dialynis, one of the senior dorms. You're not really supposed to be up there, but there I was among the solar panels, looking out on a peaceful Claremont night. I could see the outlines of the mountains, our beloved scenic backdrop, the paths we routinely walk to get to class, and the lights on in individual rooms and suites. Not to be creepy. The scene felt intimate and provided a contrast to the sunshiny image of Pomona that we see day to day and on admissions brochures. Sorry, Tom. The individual lights in people's rooms struck me in particular because with each light, I could imagine how someone had carefully constructed their space and built a life for themselves here. I wondered what people were thinking, what they were doing. Were they contemplating deep life thoughts or writing a Claremont crush? Were they actually doing the readings for class or watching Game of Thrones? Probably the latter in both cases, if we're being honest. As I sat there staring into your rooms, I realized two important things. The first was that I would never be able to write a speech that encompassed all the intimacies of our lives here, of everyone's lives here. That one may be obvious, but I think it's important to acknowledge the depth of experiences we hold. The second was by how looking at our campus at a different time of day, from an elevated perspective, 3 stories in the air, I saw a different side of Pomona. Looking at the dorms, something so familiar, from this new perspective, I was reminded of the many ways that Pomona has challenged me to see things in a new light. Like many Pomona students, I came in with a sense of self that was intensely dependent on academic success. Sophomore year was rough, and when I didn't do as well as I expected, I was overwhelmed with insecurities. I've worked really hard to let the self-doubt go, but it still crops up every now and then. Just earlier this semester, as a second semester senior, it came back. I went to talk to Professor Richard Lewis, who I'm just now realizing is probably sitting behind me and has no idea I'm about to say this. But I went to talk to him because I was stressed about his class, The Social Brain, which is a great class, by the way. During this conversation, he said something so simple and so obvious, especially since I'm a cognitive science major. He said, "College is a time to restructure the neural pathways in your brain. You are here at a peak time in your life to experience new things, meet new people, and break down old habits and biases. You are stimulating your mind with new information in order to reshape the way your neurons communicate and strengthen new neural pathways. The other things don't matter." I don't know, some neuro majors might correct me on that, but yeah. It's not surprising he thinks this way because he's a neuropsychology professor, but his perspective stood out to me because it reframed the importance of our education here, not in terms of grades or honors, but in terms of how we have restructured our brains and broadened our worldviews. It reminded me that it is our willingness to let our views change that is the beauty of a liberal arts education. Once I understood this lesson, I told him I was only taking his class for fun because apparently as a second semester senior, I had nothing better to do with my time. And he promptly told me to drop his class and enjoy the rest of my year. Which I did. I'm sure that many of us have had similar experiences, similar moments to this, with different lessons, of course. As our time, as our time at Pomona has taught us to unsee what we think we know and piece things back together in ways we did not know how to before. Guided by our professors and by each other, we have learned how to deconstruct and analyze both facets of our own identities and the building blocks that make up our society, from molecules and atoms to structures and institutions. By doing so, we have developed 3-story high perspectives, like that of the Dialynis roof, elevated not in the sense that we are better than others, but in that we have earned the ability to see far beyond what is immediately in front of us. This perspective, hopefully, allows us to empathize with others, be patient with ourselves, and recognize the injustices and inequalities in our society. Many of us do not need higher education to tell us that these injustices exist. Many of us, our friends and our families, feel the consequences of these inequalities every day, even in the bubble that is Pomona. Throughout our time here, we have seen a rather tumultuous political climate, both nationally and globally. We have seen significant turnovers in the US government, international governments, and in our own administration. Despite all these changes, students have unwaveringly advocated for better survivor support, better mental health resources, and support for DACA, first generation, and low-income students, among many, many, many other things. Higher education Higher education should not come at the compromise of our safety, mental health, citizenship status, or financial security, and rather should help us promote these areas. Thank you to all the student activists who have put so much into causes that are often so personal and emotionally taxing. I know your efforts have not been easy. These issues reach far beyond Pomona, obviously, and as scary as that may be, I trust that our education has equipped us with the skills and awareness to tackle challenges that are both deeply personal and elevated beyond ourselves. My biggest hope is that as alumni, we will continue to use our Pomona education to improve ourselves and the lives of those around us. This includes giving back to our Pomona community and using our power as alumni to ensure that Pomona stays true to the values that we care about. And I know that we're very ambitious, we're all very ambitious, high-achieving people. We wouldn't have been here otherwise. So I also want to emphasize that we can make our impacts at whatever pace and whatever capacity we are able to. Maybe that is just through being kind and sharing positive day-to-day interactions. That is fine. Our current world operates at such a rapid pace and leaves so little headspace for the thoughtfulness required for new perspectives. I think this is the root of a lot of problems in our society and at our school. So I hope we all learn how to slow down and be more intentional in our actions. I know I always need to be reminded of that. Looking out at our class, I am struck by how few seats we fill. Out of all the people in the world, we are the only Pomona College class of 2019 graduates. When we stepped foot on this campus as little baby sage hens, we came from so many different backgrounds, each as invaluable as the next. Now, as graduates, we are bonded by Pomona education, and though that may look immensely different for each of us, what we share is the privilege of having been here, and we should never forget that. On that note, I would like to give a big thank you to all the people who have made our time here so special and who we will never forget. Thank you to our friends who remind us to take care of ourselves when we need it the most. In the times when you may be feeling lonely post-grad, I hope you hold on tightly to these friends who have become like family. Wig Nation, forever. Thank you to our families who have supported us throughout the years, and special birthday shout out to Miss Moon. Thank you to my family, all 15 of them sitting in the row over there. You've done so much for me, and I am extremely grateful. Thank you to our professors who have mentored us. Thank you to the dining hall, housekeeping, and maintenance staff for feeding us and being invaluable to our time here. Thank you to my senior class committee and all the ASPC staff, as well as Sweet to Sweet, for making this job so much fun. Most importantly, thank you all, the class of 2019, for being a really wonderful class. I had a great time organizing senior events, and since I bothered you about it all year, I thought I should let you know that we made it to 70% senior class donations. So thank you. I feel truly lucky to have shared this time with you all, and every time I see you figuring out your paths and working hard towards your goals, I am inspired to work harder myself. Thank you again for everything. I have been honored to serve as your senior class president. Congratulations. I wish you all the best.